Okay guys, so the film that we're talking about today is X-Men First Class. Now this is a Blu-ray that I actually found in a skip outside a job that I was working on. There was probably like 10 to 15 other DVDs and a few Blu-rays in there. But this most notably, I saw it and I was like, no way, X-Men First Class, that's absolutely worth saving from the scrapyard. So I took it and I'm quite pleased that I did, to be honest, because this is a solid film. Although it's not my favourite X-Men movie, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this X-Men movie. You know, the casting's great, the story's great. Overall, like I say, it's just a solid film. And the fact that it is essentially going for free in a skip, you know, it only makes sense to take it. Now, things that I like about this movie, I think Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy as Professor X and Magneto are great in the roles. People are always talking about Magneto, Michael Fassbender's Magneto coming back and joining the MCU. You know, now that we're doing the whole multiverse thing, it kind of makes sense for him to show up simply because of how great he is in these movies. And James McAvoy, I won't mind him showing up as well as Professor X, although we've already done the Patrick Stewart Professor X, so who knows whether that will happen or any of it will happen. But this movie is solid, you know, it's the first class because we're going back in time and we're getting the first class of Professor X's students. You know, he takes a bunch of mutants under his wing. And overall, this is interesting. You know, we get the non-traditional X-Men cast. You know, we're normally used to seeing Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, although Beast is in this movie. You know, we get a bunch of younger X-Men, and it's interesting just seeing Professor X and Magneto as younger men as well. Obviously, we get the whole Magneto story a little bit more in depth because we do touch on Magneto's story in like X1. But we get it a little bit more in this, and we kind of see what really drives him to become the evil man that he is in the future X-Men movies. But overall, this is a solid movie. Great villains in it as well. I'm forgetting the name of the villain, but it's basically the Footloose guy, and you know, he's kind of sinister in this, and he's got his own good team as well. And this is a great starting off point that leads us into what I think is possibly the best X-Men movie, and that's Days of Future Past. So if you look at this like Terminator 1, which without Terminator 1 we wouldn't have Terminator 2, you know, this is a great movie in that sense, as in it's setting us up for the next movie, which is the best movie. And like I say, overall, if you see X-Men in a skip, it's probably just worth taking. You know, I used to have Disney Plus, and one of my worries now is that films like X-Men and Spider-Man and the Avengers, all that sort of stuff, will probably never show up on anything like Netflix, which, you know, obviously it wouldn't make sense for Disney Plus to have Disney Plus and then rent out these movies or whatever. Maybe they will in the future, but probably not. You know, if you want to watch X-Men online, you're probably going to have to go to Disney Plus, which I don't have Disney Plus, so that was actually the main deciding factor when I saw it in this skip, where it was like, oh yeah, I'll take that, simply because at the time I didn't have Disney Plus and I don't plan on getting it again. So the only way I'd ever be able to watch this is randomly on TV, or I'd have to get Disney Plus, where now I don't have to. But let me know what you guys think of Blu-rays and DVDs and 4Ks. Is that something that any of you guys are collecting at the moment? When it comes to those sort of things, like at the moment, I'm a Blu-ray guy. I'd love to get 4K and have the ultimate experience, but me personally, I can watch the movie in any kind of quality. You know, most of my life I was watching it on a crappy TV, or I was watching DVDs. And even now I've still got a lot of DVDs. I often watch The Lord of the Rings on DVDs, and to me those movies are great. You know, I'm not watching it thinking, oh man, this quality is a little bit down. As long as I've got the story to watch, I generally couldn't care less about the quality. But at the moment, I'm kind of a Blu-ray guy. You can pick these up for 50p or £1 or $1 if you're in America. But overall, and you know, in the case of this DVD, in the case of this Blu-ray, I picked it up for free. I found it in a skip. I think that'd ideally be the best way for everybody, right? If you could just find a bunch of them in a skip and they're all good quality or good movies or whatever, that'd be ideal. But overall, I know 4Ks are a little bit pricey at the moment, and even second-hand 4Ks are still holding the money, which, you know, good for 4K, but not good if you're looking to build a collection on the cheap. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do, you know, when it comes to things like Disney Plus and Netflix. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but I'd like to have my own library of movies. You know, when it comes to Netflix, I normally put the same movie on pretty much over and over again, normally just to fall asleep to on a night. There's obviously new things and new series on Netflix which make it great, but when it comes to Disney Plus, the only things that are on there realistically on Disney Plus that I'd like to watch are the comic book movies and the Star Wars movies, and I can own all of them on Blu-ray. So that I think that'll be my mission going forward, to collect as much comic book movies and Disney stuff that I can, and then I really will never need to go back to Disney Plus unless they add new stuff. Obviously, I know there's always series. I did enjoy watching The Mandalorian and things like that, but maybe you can even pick them up on Blu-ray now. I'm not too sure, but let me know if you guys are collecting anything, and you know, if you are, what are you collecting? Are you a 4K person, Blu-ray, DVD? And there's nothing wrong with any of them. You know, if you want to get the best quality, go for 4K. If you want to get the cheapest thing possible and just have the story, DVD. Or if you want to fall somewhere in between, you know, Blu-ray. But let me know what you guys think on the whole debate, and you know, is physical media still a thing? I'm slowly getting back into it, kind of, I guess. You know, like I say, if I see something for free, you know, sign me up for it, especially if it's something good like X-Men First Class. There was some other, I can't really remember what the other DVDs and Blu-rays were in there, but they just weren't worth taking. You know, at this point I'm only going to get or take things that I know that I'm going to watch or that I definitely like. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the whole physical media collection thing, and let me know if you guys have got any stories of picking up any physical media. But yeah, let me know what you think.